All right, we're recording. So, talking about travel health, travel nutrition this month for June. And we've got a lot of different things to cover. I'd like this to be a little bit more interactive. So, if you have different questions, things that you use, I'd love to hear them. You can put them in the chat or just come over the sound there. So, first things first, we're going to talk about snacks, travel snacks, all right? Which I know we got a lot going on here, so we'll go ahead and just address that while we're here. So travel, we're talking road trips, we're talking hiking, we're talking about airplanes, trains, cruises. You're kind of covered. We're not going to really pack snacks for cruises, but for the other ones, we'll talk about that. I think the most obvious thing for travel snacks is really going to be what keeps, what is portable, what can you take with you without spoiling, without a fridge, without a microwave, stovetop, anything like that. So usually we go towards the packaged goods. I know in previous months we've talked a lot about avoiding packaged goods and talking about eating whole foods, but like everything, there is a time and a place. So we'll talk about a little bit about how I pack for travel and what snacks I tend to go to. We'll kind of give you a couple of references to maybe spark some interest, some ideas. So we'll start with the easy ones, things kind of like that grab and go. Chips are usually go-to. Those are a little harder to pack because they do crush. One of my favorite things to take, we have the peanut butter pretzel bites. Trader Joe's, solid choice here. We found out they do make almond butter ones. If you're not a peanut butter fan or allergy there, almond butter bites. We found those at Aldi's, but good choice right there. Dried fruit, whole fruit, also great options, very portable. Just throw that in the bag. Do be careful when you're traveling internationally, though. They're not a huge fan of with certain regulations about bringing outside fruit and plants and stuff like that. So we got stopped a couple times for some fruit. But road trips always great. Dried fruit, like I said, even better. Don't have to worry about those smashing too much. And of course, we're going to address over here trail mix. Usually very, very good go-to kind of snack, grab and go. We usually make our own just because we buy nuts and things in bulk and just kind of put it together. I'm not necessarily going to make it on camera for you. It's super simple. Usually our go-tos, we have walnuts, we have almonds, we have cashews, our three nuts. We'll pick one or two kind of dried fruits. We've got craisins and blueberries on those. Raisins, typical choice. Golden raisins, personal favorite. But you can also throw in some chopped up apricots, some dates, whatever you want to do for dried fruit. And then, of course, a little fun. We've got the chocolate candies, as you may. Always have a little fun, a little bit of balance in that trail mix. So usually ratios, just kind of do a handful of each kind of nuts, and then maybe 3/4, half handful of each kind of fruit. So that way, and then, chocolate as you desire. So trail mix, usually good go-to. Just put it in a Ziploc bag, toss it in carry-on, you're ready to go. Very accessible, very easy. If that is not the direction you want to go, if you want to go for the pre-made, store-bought, already mixed for you, don't do any work kind of trail mix, go for it. I personally find it to be a little bit less cost efficient, I suppose, than just buying in bulk and making your own. We also just have these, for other meals and such. So that is my suggestion, but certainly not the law. Also, I didn't mention this, but there's like a dry fruit mix that we usually get to. Makes a really good trail mix kind of, mixture. We got apricots, pineapples, bananas, raisins, coconut flakes, mango, those golden raisins we talked about, all good things. That is also at Aldi. We do all our shopping there. So trail mix we talked about. So we've kind of got the salty things, right? We talked about the pretzels. We've talked about the trail mix, the sweet things. Talked about our fruit. These are some cashews. I don't know. That goes with that. So those are the kind of two big things I would work on for packing for snacks. Sometimes you're in a mood for sweet things, sometimes you're in the mood for some salty things. So having a good mix, some variety there. Other huge go-to is some jerky. So if you are one to what am I trying to say? Check out the kind of jerky that you buy if you do like jerky. This is Epic brand, which is typically our go-to. Tends to be a little bit less in sugars. A lot of jerky has a lot of extra sugar in that, so just watch out for the ingredients, just like anything else that we've taught you. Epic bars you can find anywhere. Those are great. Chopsticks usually are go-to for the slender version, if you will. All good things on that. Again, not a lot of preservatives or extra stuff and there's sugar in there. So those are just two very specific brands. But jerky, great travel snack, way to get your protein in. They do make mushroom jerky and I guess soy jerky if you are not of the meat eating classification. There are some options there. But main thing for that is getting that protein. Protein we've talked about before has a higher level of satiety, so it keeps you fuller longer. You may tend not to snack as much. All right. So kind of in line with that, we've got all of our snacks, but what if you're just an over snacker? What if you're like, I just find myself always hungry? Little secret weapon, some gum. Always have some gum on board, especially with airplanes. You know, with the pressure in your ears, always a good thing. I think that's a pretty well-known secret. If not, always having some gum on hand. Sometimes you're just bored, and when you reach for a snack, you just want to do something active in the effort of chewing. So having gum is kind of satisfies that craving for something to chew on, something to do. So always recommend having some gum on hand. But all right, so that's all well and good. Obviously, I'm not going to cover every single possible travel snack, but just in the idea of categories: sweet, salty, protein, always good to have. A couple other things that I usually travel with is we've really gotten into the little what do you call them? Like the applesauce pouches. Great travel. Very easy, very tasty. Kind of get a little bit of that liquid. Everything is very dry with travel snacks, at least in this variety. So having something a little bit sweeter, a little bit more of that kind of watery is a good balance as well. And then we also have the travel almond butter packets. Usually go great with apples or bananas. Somebody ate the last one, so I don't have it to show you, but we usually have those on hand as well. So we kind of balance it all out. It kind of leads me into the water. Always taking a water bottle with you, staying hydrated, which is something that is very underrated on in any kind of travel. I know the tough thing is with road trips is you don't want to stop a whole bunch for bathroom breaks. On planes, a little bit more accessible, but nobody wants to be chugging, a half gallon of water. So, but always recommend bringing a water bottle. If you're going through TSA, make sure it is empty before you go through. Secret to hydration, though, not always just how much water you drink, but a big part of it is how much water you retain. So that's why I would like to introduce some. This is from Elementi. This is a electrolyte drink mix. So versus like a Gatorade, this is kind of a different substitute for Gatorade. This does come in a small little packet powder. There is flavoring on these. These are a nice little mango chili, which is fun. But what these are designed to do is that they have salt, so they have sodium, they have electrolytes in there. So designed to help you kind of retain more of that water. All right. So just drinking pure water. Sometimes not always the method. It's just about how well you retain it. We talked about months and months and months ago about gel water, and we talked about hydrating through food, hydrating outside of just plain water. So this is a good way to do it. Also add a little bit of variety to what you drink. So getting a drink mix like this, like I said, little packets from Element have salt. We have some from Goo, which are like the little tabs that you put in, and they kind of mix through. I know Noon has similar tablets. on it has a hydration mix. We can talk about those specifics as well. One thing I will share with you all, since you are wonderful members of our Power Up Fitness Center, we Exos do have a collaboration effort with the feed. So I'm going to send at the end of this meeting, I'm going to put in the chat a discount code that you can go in there. It's basically just a conglomeration of a bunch of different nutrition brands and snacks, foods, drink mixes like this and all that. So we'll send you that. You get a little discount there. Not pushing you towards anything, but just explore that. If you do have questions, of course, you can come to us. So hydration, very, very underutilized in travel. Feel very drained, especially on the airplane. You know, you get a little dry in the throat. This will very much surprise you. It is kind of an alternative, so like I said, to Gatorade, to Pedialyte, but just a little bit less of the bunch of extra calories through sugar, and just getting the good stuff, right? It's also a lot more portable than a whole thing of Gatorade. Cool. So all that. The main thing, not the main thing, but I guess the big thing I want to talk about that doesn't get talked a lot about is bringing food with you, which sounds like that's what we have been talking about. But meal prep containers, right? You can take food with you, right? You don't always have to buy food out. Very quick, I know we've covered this before, but if you do find yourself buying food on your travels, just making the good choices. We've talked about this many, many times before in restaurants, right? You know, of course, have a good time, enjoy yourself, but when given the opportunity to pick between, you know, two evils, we'll take the lesser of the two evils, you know, just do a little something for yourself. You know, if you're just eating, you know, junk food all the time, throw in a little vegetable heavier dish every now and again. That's all we're saying there. It is vacation. I do want you to enjoy yourself, and you should, but doesn't mean you have to throw everything you worked on out the window, right? Typically say eat what you need to 80% of the time, eat what you want to 20% of the time. So leave that at that. We can talk about that more if you like. But meal prep containers. So you can take this, a lunch bag, or if you have a personal item that you can throw a couple packs of food in there. Great. I know before, I haven't talked about this before, but on here. But you can, what I've done before is meal prep things, throw them in the freezer. And so when you take them with you on the plane, if you put them like in a lunchbox or something, that keeps them colder. If it's a long trip, it will keep better for the long haul. Obviously, you're not necessarily going to have, you know, a microwave or, you know, an oven or something in the car or on the plane. It's designed for when you get to the hotel, right? You can warm it up and you have meals. You don't necessarily have to go find meals. I know sometimes when you travel late at night, you arrive at the airport 8, 9 p.m. The only thing that's open is the Five Guys. You don't really want a burger, but it's the only thing, and you're hungry. So you can do that, or if you have food ready for you when you hit the hotel. So kind of a good pro tip there. An even better pro tip, one thing that I would like to share with you all, I've been keeping secret for a long time, thermoses. So this is your average everyday coffee mug, right? But remember that this keeps things hot and cold, right? So instead of putting your coffee in here, we can put a warmed meal into your mug, right? So I'm gonna throw these in the microwave. This is from dinner last night. So just some rice and beef there. So as it's going, heating up, you know, while you're packing before you leave, if you have just eaten lunch or maybe a meal of whatever kind, go ahead and take some of those leftovers, throw it in the mug, cap it up. It'll keep hot 8, 10 hours, depending on obviously the quality of your mug. So I also want to show you the water bottles. A lot of water bottles now are insulated. They're kind of stainless steel, so those will keep as well. Certainly won't necessarily keep as well as a thermos, you know, designed to keep hot things hot, but it could work. So I'm gonna spoon some rice in here, and we've got some ground beef with some peppers and onions in there, and obviously you can put whatever you like. We'll give that a little mix. And like I said, so what I do is I usually use a spoon and just pop it in there. And then you've got all that is ready to go. So that, like I said, we'll keep for quite a while. Obviously, this is a regular like coffee mug, but they also make thermoses that have like the wide mouth. The other thing about this is that it is a little narrow to get into. So if we're gonna kind of flesh this pro tip all the way out, would go for the wider mouth, so it's obviously easier to scoop out of. But this way, you do have a hot meal. Again, whether you're on the road, in the airport, whatever, you can avoid spending your $15 on a sandwich. The thing I do want to point out, kind of poke the obvious here again, is with any food, I'm sure some of you have traveled much more than I have. I do travel fairly regularly, but anytime with food, I would recommend pulling it out of your bag at TSA and just putting it in the bin. Otherwise, you almost will always get stopped. Any organic matter they do have to check. So if you do put it in here, I would put that outside of your luggage or your bag or anything like that, and send it through. They may flag it. I do want to give that caveat, but they'll check it. You'll be good to go. You won't have to throw it out. You can eat it. So that is pretty much the general consistency of what I wanted to cover. So travel snacks, again, just kind of give you a quick bulleted list. Of course, we're looking at things that are portable, and this is kind of the opportunity to kind of explore some better options for packaged goods. We talked about having something salty, something sweet, just in terms of as a human, you like balance, you like options. Things that I talked about here are just my personal selections. I do want you to kind of explore your grocery store and get whatever you would like. But again, making the healthier options or healthier choices, right? Trying to avoid things that are over processed, things that have a bunch of extra additives, and things that are, like the trail mix, something that is as natural as you can get to. So with travel, I know it's tough. I know we're kind of constrained in certain things, and we do want to make it as accessible as possible to eat well and kind of still fuel yourself. So look at it as a little bit less of a restrictive option and maybe just a chance to kind of get away from what you normally eat, normally consume. So do explore a little bit. As always, we're happy to offer suggestions. Hopefully this kind of spurs something for you. I do want to re-emphasize the hydration bit of it. Just water is the bare minimum, right? I do highly recommend some kind of salt mix to put into your water. If you're not familiar with the hydration episode that we did on Friday Morning Fuel months ago, I'll find that, or I'll repost that up for you so you can check it out. But maintaining water is going to be quite a bit more important than just how much water that you drink. Also, if you're retaining water, you won't have to drink a whole bunch and then have to go to the bathroom a whole bunch. So it's a little cascade effect. So, and then again, the kind of the secret weapon here is using that insulated mug or travel container to put your food in, not just your beverages. So, and then obviously when you've eaten it, it is then you're free to go with your coffee, right? So, a little dual purpose there. So, I'm happy to field any questions you all may have. If you have a favorite go-to snack that you have, please put it in the chat and comments. I'd love to see those, and we'll collect them and kind of make a little list for everybody to check out. So otherwise, I'll hang around a little bit. Thank you all so much for joining. Those on Instagram, we'll see you next month.
Thanks, Matt.
You are welcome.
Thanks, Matt, you're going to post that.
What's up?
We're going to post the hydration list or the discount codes or whatnot, whatever you were saying.
Yep. So I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna post that discount code, and then I'll find that hydration video and I'll post that as well.
Cool. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it. Bye. Have a nice weekend.
Thanks, man. You too.